Have you ever caught yourself, talking through a problem when you're all alone? Or maybe replaying a conversation out loud? Look, most of us do it, but we hardly ever talk about it, right? There's this kind of unspoken idea that it's a little weird. But what if it's not a weakness? What if it's actually a super powerful tool that the sharpest minds are using to get an edge? Let's really get into what the science and what the world's top performers can teach us about this.
And that right there is the heart of the issue, isn't it? There's a real stigma. We see someone muttering to themselves on the street, and we might think, oh, they're distracted, or they're unsure, or maybe just a little bit off. It's this immediate, quiet judgment. But that assumption completely misses what's really going on under the surface.
So which one is it? Is talking to yourself a sign of weakness, or is it a secret weapon? We're going to unpack this whole stigma and find out the surprising truth behind our own inner monologue.
Okay, so this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the stigma, the common belief that self-talk means you're unsure, distracted, or even weak. But the reality, especially for high performers, is the exact opposite. For them, it is a deliberate, it's a controlled, and it is an incredibly sharp mental tool. And that's really the key thing to get. For the most focused, most effective people on the planet, this is not some random habit or a nervous tick. No, they engage in self-talk on purpose. It is a conscious strategy, not some kind of accident. And you see this everywhere at the highest levels. I mean, think about it. An elite athlete verbalizing a cue to nail that perfect shot when the pressure is on. A military commander talking through every single possible scenario before an operation. Or even a chess grandmaster rehearsing complex positions out loud. They're not doing this because they're confused. They're doing it to force absolute clarity. Okay, so how does this actually work? Let's dig into how you can turn all that chaotic noise in your head into a clear, usable signal.
The key concept we need to understand is something called friction. And in this context, friction is a good thing, a really good thing. By speaking your thoughts out loud, you create this tiny but crucial space between an impulse and your reaction to it. You're basically taking the thought out of your head and putting it in front of you, which forces you to look at it before you act.
And this whole process, this creating friction, is what helps you move from spiraling to structuring. Now, spiraling, we've all been there. It's when you replay the same negative thought over and over and over, with no way out. But structuring? That's when you use language to break that same thought down piece by piece and totally strip it of its emotional power.
So, this really brings up a personal question, right? When you talk to yourself, are you asking the right kind of questions?
And the difference here is just stark. An ineffective question is so vague and self-critical, like, why am I like this? That leads you nowhere. But an effective question, it's tactical, it's forward-looking. Okay, what's the next correct move? That question doesn't just sit there, it demands an answer, it demands a plan. I mean, just think about that for a second. This one simple shift in how you question yourself completely transforms your inner dialogue. You go from having this inner voice that's just a critic to one that's an active strategist, working with you. That's a total game changer. This brings us to what we can call the practice of command. And this is all about seeing self-talk not as some way to vent your emotions, but as a powerful tool for maintaining control, especially when things get really tough. Ever wonder why some people just seem so incredibly calm under pressure? Well, here's the secret. It's not that they don't feel the pressure. Oh, they do. It's that they've already been there. They've already rehearsed the situation in their head. They've walked through the decisions, the consequences, so when it happens for real, they're ready. And this isn't some new age idea. It's a timeless practice. The ancient Stoic philosophers did it through their journals. They were basically writing to themselves. Samurai in feudal Japan, they recorded their inner reflections to keep their discipline sharp. And today, elite special operators rehearse their missions out loud before they even take a single step. They're not venting, they're aligning their thoughts with their action. So, if this is so effective, why don't more people do it? Well, the answer is pretty blunt, maybe even a little uncomfortable. It's because when you say a thought out loud, you can't hide from it anymore. It shines a spotlight on it. It forces you to take responsibility, to either face that thought head-on or actively work to correct it. And that level of self-examination, that's hard work. Okay, so let's get practical. How can you start refining your own inner dialogue? This section is going to give you a clear, actionable framework to do just that.
So it's a three-step process to get you from that vague panic to measured action. First, you just identify that big, overwhelming thought, like, I'm messing everything up. Second, you force structure on it.
ask specific questions. Okay, what exactly went wrong here? What part of this was actually in my control? And finally, you move to measured action by asking the most important question of all. What do I do next? And here's the little bit of cognitive magic. When you actually verbalize these questions, even if it's just in a whisper, you force your brain to stop swirling around in emotion and start thinking in a straight line, in a sequence. You're basically imposing order on the chaos in your head.
And this process creates this amazing chain reaction. Once you impose structure on your thoughts, clarity just naturally follows. And once you have clarity about the situation and your next move, well, real, earned confidence isn't far behind at all. It's a direct path from one to the other.
So, what's the ultimate result of mastering this skill? You become internally referenced. What does that mean? It means you stop needing other people to tell you you're on the right track. You don't wait around for reassurance, and you don't fall apart if someone criticizes you. You've got your own internal compass. And let me tell you, that is an incredibly rare and powerful way to live.
I just love this final thought. We so often mistake loudness and bravado for confidence, but true confidence, it's not a performance for other people. It's a quiet certainty that you build by yourself, in private, through disciplined practices, just like this.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. When you talk to yourself, is that voice a critic that just points out all your flaws? Or is it a strategist that helps you find the next right move? Because the choice